And that's, there are a lot of people, there are some folks who don't want to have to do any of that, but others say, look, we're willing to provide contraception, but it's against our beliefs to have anything to do with either sterilization or abortions.
Where do you see the court going with this?
I actually think that the challengers in this case are going to win. I think the government is taking a very extreme position when it comes to religious freedom, and I think that not only under the First Amendment, but as you mentioned, under the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which is a federal law that was supposed to restore the ability of people to practice their religion, I think the government actually has an uphill road in this fight. By the way, it's going to be a interesting argument tomorrow because once again, Donald Verrilli, who's the Solicitor General, will be up against Paul Clement. Paul Clement is one of the lawyers who also argued the Obamacare challenge 2 years ago. So it's kind of a restocking of the two litigators who fought this out 2 years ago.
Will you be there?
I am going to be there. I'm going to get up early and go get in line and be there to hear the oral arguments.
And you're coming on the show tomorrow night to tell us about it. Sometime between 6 and 7:30 tomorrow night Eastern. You can make it. We'll make it happen.
I think we could probably do that.
I always ask him on air, folks. I got to do that. Even Hans makes efforts for us all the time. We do appreciate it. Hans, I am concerned. We are going to be covering this in the second hour, but I want to go to the hate idea. There's an idea out there that we hate. Those of us who have opposed President Obama's policies hate President Obama. And I just wanted to address this on the level of justice and fairness. When we have the issue of the IRS being investigated by someone who has maxed out their credit card or maxed out what they can contribute to a particular donor or to a party and to a candidate, and they're chosen in a case that President Obama says there's not a smidgen of corruption, yet we have the head of the department in question pleading the fifth twice. Do you think there's a problem?
Yes. Yeah, to ordinary Americans who recognize when there's a conflict of interest and a clear problem, yes, of course. Only in Washington could folks think that that's not an issue and that's not a problem, particularly in this administration.
Hans, you also looked at a case. I understand you wrote about a case in Pennsylvania dealing with the state government there and bribery charges. Now, I heard this is all about racism. Your thoughts?
Yeah, the Democratic Attorney General there dropped a bribery case against a number of Democratic legislators, all of whom happen to be black, claiming it was racist to go after them. It turned out that they had tried to give bribes to both Republican and Democratic legislators. It's just that the Democrats were the only ones that actually took it. And over the weekend, there was an op-ed written by the Democratic African-American district attorney in Philadelphia criticizing the Attorney General, saying this investigation, this prosecution was certainly not racist.
Hans, back to Obamacare. Are there other cases that we will see regarding the implementation of the law and the faithfulness to the law before the court?
Well, not tomorrow, but there are other cases working their way up. People should realize that while we've only got 2 cases consolidated before the court, there are actually 90 lawsuits spread out across the country with 300 plaintiffs all over just the HHS mandate. But there are other cases that are working their way up through the courts on other issues like the mandates.
And so when we think of this, we've got to understand that we can't lose faith in our system. It may take some time, but these things are moving ahead, and we do have a process.
Yes, we certainly do. And we'll have a decision on this, on the HHS mandate. We'll have a decision by June.
That is, and of course, we look forward to that. But the final question for you, Hans, with the contempt of Congress for Lois Lerner and the questions regarding that, it seems that people are identifying the IRS scandal. It's front and center. There's others, of course, that we could go into. But do you think this is the one that has legs in the sense that there is enough law clearly stated that when it comes to Lois Lerner, we can get the truth because she waived her Fifth Amendment rights, according to your article referencing the previous investigation and her statements there and D.C. law.
No, I think there is. And look, even if the government refuses to prosecute the case, which it looks like they're going to do, there are civil cases moving forward, one in particular by True the Vote, an organization out of Texas, and they have the ability there to do discovery and to take depositions of IRS officials. And I think even if the criminal case doesn't go forward, I think we're going to get some answers in the civil case.
And that's what we want. We want answers and accountability. And oftentimes, a lot of times we get a lot of calls for impeachment, Hans, but historically that hasn't worked out too well. And really, we do have a say. They're called elections, right?
That's exactly right. And we have elections coming up this year very quickly.
That's for sure. Hans, I look forward to talking with you in some way tomorrow. I appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time tonight.
Sure, take care.
Take care. Hans von Spakovsky, Senior Legal Analyst at the Heritage Foundation.